Good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on which side of the pond or coast you're on, and welcome to a very special edition of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and today Tony Robinson is with me, where we're going to speak with the current manager of Warrington Town, Paul Carden. Now, Paul is not just a manager. He has had quite a career all up and down northern England. He even made 4 appearances with our favorite club, Accrington Stanley, back in 2007, 2008. And Paul, we also have been told is a trivia buff, so we've got some trivia, and we're really excited to have you on the show. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks very much, and good evening. Good evening, where you calling me from? Anyway, it's 6 o'clock tea time, so yeah. But it's nice to be on. Nice to be on and to talk football for a change lately.
Yeah, it's nice to have a chat about take our minds off things and talk about the passion that we all have. And it's funny you say tea time where you are. It's just dinner time for me in Toronto. I get mixed up where I was there for a second. And for Phil, he's in Arizona, so he's a couple hours. So we got the whole day covered, Paul. So we're good to go.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, what we are is, just to give you a little background on our podcast, is we're a U.S.-based podcast where we started off here in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I'm at. And then we decided that we wanted to cover the lower leagues of English football, being Accrington fans from Arizona, of all things. And Scott, of course, Scott Brown, was actually the first guest we ever had on the show, and he's been on with us 4 different times now over the past few years. And it is funny that you mentioned tea time, because I remember Brett Ormerod came on the show about a year and a half ago, and I asked him, what time should we give you a call at? And he said tea time. And then I said, well, you're going to have to explain to me what time that is. And now you're from Liverpool originally, and now at Warrington Town, you're really just a little bit down the road from Liverpool. So just give us a little bit about yourself and your early career and where you got started and things like that.
Yeah, well, it all sort of kicked off for me when I was 14, if you like, playing district football and playing for Sefton and Merseyside, and I got noticed by Liverpool scouts. I went to Liverpool. I was at Liverpool for a few months, and it was decision time on what you call schoolboy footing, and they were umming and ahhing over what was what was going to be done with me, and in the meantime, Blackpool just offered me schoolboy forms out of nowhere. There was a lot of lads up in the air at Liverpool in my age group, and so I decided to go to Blackpool. Where I ended up being there till I was 19. So I made my debut when I was 17 against Preston, live on the telly, live on Sky. So I had an enjoyable time at Blackpool, and fond memories. Obviously, making my debut in League One at the time was a big moment for me. So that was the kind of junior side of the start to my career, if you like, before going on to numerous clubs. Some people have called me a journeyman, but I just like to look at it as the sort of next challenge or whatever way. But from there, I went to Rochdale. Left Blackpool and went to Rochdale and had a good time. Played, got myself going as a sort of league player at Rochdale. Got myself established and made a few appearances for them, and then moved to Chester, which was probably me most notable club.
Close to 50 appearances for Rochdale. I had down here, so that was more than a few. You, like you said, you established yourself as a regular league player during those years.
Yeah, it was, and Rochdale weren't ever a side. They weren't doing what they've done recently, and that was, being in League One and sort of winning promotions. And we were always a side that was down, fighting your way at the wrong end of the table just because of budgets and stuff like that. And it was well noted. They were a side that was in League Two for a really long time. And I, as I say, I established myself as a player, and we could play in the first team, and I had a good time there. I was disappointed to leave. There was a bit of interest, and then Graham Barrow, who was the manager who signed me, he got sacked. And as always happens, new managers come in, new ideas, new opinions, and I moved on. I ended up moving on to Chester, where me sort of, that was probably me, the club I look back on as, as the club for me, because I had my biggest success with them. I signed for them, and unfortunately we got relegated, and I was the only player to play in the side that went down, and I captained them back into League Two. So I was the only player who played in both games. So that was a little bit of a tale in itself for me. So I had a bad time at the beginning of my Chester career, but I had a really good period in which I'd say was my most notable in being captain of a promotion winning side of league champions.
You commented on when you made your professional appearance at 17. Obviously for a big side like Blackpool against another big team, Preston North End. How was that? How do you think that did it add an effect on your career, starting out so young and in a game? Did it give you the mindset that this is easier than I thought, or how did it sort of affect you at that young age?
It was kind of, it was a bit surreal, really, because my dad took me. Mum and dad went everywhere. Wherever I played football, they went everywhere. And they couldn't actually get into Deepdale on the night of the game. It was a Friday night, and the game was on Sky, and they couldn't get in. And I'd left tickets on before whatever reason. They never made it into the ground, so they dashed back and they watched it in the local pub on the telly, and it's one of the things that a lot of people in my area know about me is when I made my debut, because a lot of them were in the pub watching it on a Friday night with my mum and dad. So yeah, but in terms of going on in football, I was disappointed I never made more appearances for Blackpool. It was just a handful, but Blackpool at the time were a club who just season after season just kept going through managers. My first year as a YTS was Sam Allardyce was the manager. My second season, Gary Megson was the manager, and he was the person who gave me my debut. And when I turned pro and became a pro, Nigel Warrington was in charge. So in 3 seasons, there was 3 managers, and I'd only been full time for 3 years. So it was a strange time, but obviously one that's really memorable for me and a standout time for me. And obviously my family were proud of what I'd achieved at that moment.
And those are 3 big names, obviously went on to big careers in their own right. So when you look back, and I guess we'll touch on this later on, but you as a manager now, you've played under a lot of different managers. So I think we'll probably want to talk about that later on, Phil, about the style of management. But you want to continue on about his career at the moment, right?
Yeah, let's kind of go maybe say up to about halfway through your career here, and then maybe ask some other questions, and then we'll get towards the end of your career, because towards the end of your career you were actually even doing some playing and managing at the same time. So we probably want to talk about that a little bit separately. But one thing, and this might be actually a good question to get in now, is you mentioned earlier that you were with a lot of clubs, and Tony has a question that he likes to ask, and it's in relation to Scott Brown, actually. And you might actually be one of the people that can come close to competing with Scott in terms of this question.
Yeah. Who's played for more clubs, you or Scott Brown?
I think I would have to say Brownie.
Yeah, I think you're. It's close, but he's got you by 13-11.
Well, there you go. He's more of a journeyman than me.
Yeah.
Now, if you throw in your teams managed, then you say you added Southport, Trentmere, and Warrington, then you have him 14-11, or excuse me, 14-13 if we count your teams managed in there.
Yeah, but unfortunately, when I was managing Southport, my legs had fell off by then, so I couldn't play no more. So Brownie's still got a couple of years left in him, even though he's getting on. So he'll probably have a couple more, Brownie, knowing him.
We do need to mention that Scott Brown had a very big announcement this week with the birth of a new daughter, and we just want to congratulate Scott and his family on their new baby, because we definitely want to make sure that we congratulate Scott on that.
Yeah, definitely. There's finally someone in his house who he's bigger than as well. So he struggles with family members to look down to, or who look up to him, I should say, because he's the little one in the house.
I think with having a new baby, I think he'll be hoping to get back to training sooner rather than later.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember a good time when I had our first, my son Will, and even in pre-season I'd say, "Oh, we're in training today," and it'd be June, and my wife would say, "Well, why are you in June? You don't normally go back till July." "Oh, we're just back early," and I'd just get out the house and go running, or go running up hills, or go to the gym or whatever, just to get out and changing nappies and feeds and stuff like that. But no, it's just great time for him and his family. So I know he's been really excited for it. So but I'm sure he's excited to get back playing as well, and trying to avoid them night feeds as well. You know.
How big of an addition was he coming over to your team on loan from Harrogate? He
was a big signing for us, because we'd lost a player, a player who he knows really well in Stephen Jennings, who's had a great career, really good footballing midfielder, and we were struggling to replace him in terms of experience, his know-how, his quality. It was a bit of a mad one, because I was actually going Christmas shopping, and we'd lost Geno. He had to retire, his knee was playing up, and I was thinking, who can I get hold of? So, and I was, Browning's always been on the tip of my tongue, but I hadn't spoke to him, and I hadn't spoke to Harrogate. And I phoned the Harrogate coach up, the goalkeeper coach, Phil Priestley, who was my goalkeeping coach at Southport, and he was on my staff. And I just said, "What's the score with Brownie? I see he hasn't been playing." And he said, "No, the manager's looking to get a couple of players out." I said, "Well, we can't go near what he's getting paid." I said, "But it might work that he's closer to home." Blah blah blah. So waited an hour. I was walking around the retail park, and anyway, I walked back. Phones fill up again. Any news from the manager? No, he hasn't phoned. And who's walking into the barber shop? Was Scott Brown. I'm walking past his shop. Scott Brown's walking in the barber shop. Now, if you've seen any pictures of me recently, it's not a shop that I go into often. I use my own clippers, and use my own clippers and a bottle of Pledge to give me a polish afterwards. But I seen Brownie going into the barbers, and I was like, I can't believe I've just come off the phone 10 minutes asking about signing you, and he was like, 100%, I want to come. So from that moment on, it was like I knew he wanted to come, and I thought that would be the battle, really, and obviously the finances. But I thought, he might not want to drop down, but he just came, he just wanted to play, and he was brilliant for us. He was brilliant in the dressing room from minute one, brilliant on the pitch, and I think he really enjoyed it as well. Obviously, being at home, a game where his family could come and watch him, and obviously playing where they could come and watch him because he wasn't getting any time at all at Harrogate, or very, very few minutes. So, I think we were at the time we were brilliant for each other in that respect. And he's got another year at Harrogate. He's got another year there. So whatever happens after this, I'm sure he'll be back, because if they've had him watched, and obviously I've had contact with the manager and said how well he'd done. Brownie's the type to go back in pre-season and turn it on and earn a place back. But if he doesn't, and they've made a decision on him already, then we'd welcome him back with open arms.
Well, I know that's one of the things, the reasons when he left the Stanley, because he was obviously very well liked at Stanley by everybody. And I think there's the promise there for more football and starting at Harrogate. And obviously, with that not panning out, that's a disappointment for a player at his stage in his career. And the opportunity that you've given him, it must be like a new lease on life for him.
Yeah, I think it was as well. And he quickly got in the team spirit. He quickly became one of the team, one of the lads, because the type of person he is. And I think probably he'll look back on this as his time at Warrington a really good time. He scored goals. He's been part of a winning side. And unfortunately, like everybody, the season ground to a halt. But I think in terms of his football, and if he's asked about his enjoyment of what clubs he's played for, I think we'll be one of them, because at the stage of your career he's at, he's still more than capable of playing a lot higher than we are. And when you're not getting selected and for whatever reason, and you don't want to go out that way, and I'm glad, I'm hoping that we've played a part in him, obviously finding his mojo for the game back as well, because when you're away from home and he's mid-30s and you're not playing football, it's not a nice thing, especially when you're capable. I was the same age as Brownie, maybe a year younger at Luton, and I finished with an injury and I was away from home injured. And I knew then that I probably wasn't going to come back, but that was different. Brownie's more than capable, more than fit enough, and more than good enough to still be playing at a level higher than us. So that won't be the end of Brownie. He'll end up playing next season, and if he hasn't got anywhere to go, he can always come back to us.
Well, yeah, hopefully he does.
I don't. Yeah. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. I mean, we were watching him play in League One the year before, and he definitely has a lot of football left in him. And now, before we finish up and move back to talking about your career, Scott did tell us that you're a bit of a trivia buff. So we've come in with a trivia question here.
Right. I'll try me best.
The question is actually about Scott, and it's related to his first league goal, which came back in 2005 when he was playing with Bristol City. We wanted to ask, who did Scott's first league goal come against?
Oof. Now that was about 48 years ago. That isn't it?
I'll give you a clue. The team that he scored against starts with an O.
Oldham.
Yeah. Oldham. There, you got it. That was Scott's first league goal. I mean, it may be so long ago that you might be able to win a pint off him with that.
Yeah, possibly. He probably won't remember it would be that long ago.
I've got a couple of trivia ones we might as well throw in at the moment now, Phil, if you want.
Let's do that. Let's do that. I think you'll enjoy this one that Tony told me earlier, Paul.
I always like to sort of, when you're somebody from Liverpool, and I always kind of like to sort of, if I can see a trivia question that's sort of pertinent to you and the area.
Yeah.
Okay, what two teams played in the first Football League match in 1888 at Anfield? So what two teams played at Anfield in 1888, the first match?
I I'd have to say Everton would be one of them.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you the other one.
Well, you played for this club just for a few matches, though. Well, not actually for the club, but for the town. Starts with an A.
Oh, Aki. Was it?
Yeah. It was Accrington.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Accrington FC. Yeah.
So you can win a pint. You can win a pint with that one, Paul, anytime.
Yeah, I'll ask Coley that one and see, does he know? He owes me a pint, him, anyway.
Well, I got another one here. You can double up on this one as well. And there was two possible answers. And the reason I say that is because I always thought it was one, and I looked it up today to confirm, and another name came up. Okay, what is the closest football ground to the River Mersey?
Tranmere.
No, and I'm going to give you a clue. You were there probably every day or every week on a Saturday playing, managing.
I was there every week on a. No, it's not Warrington, is it?
Yeah. Yep. And the answer that I was always told was Stockport County. And when I looked it up, Cantilever Park is 850 meters away, and Stockport County is 900 meters away. So you guys are 50 meters closer to the River Mersey than anybody. So that definitely will win you a pint over Coley on that one.
Yeah, that'll definitely. I'll get Coley on that one. He likes his football trivia as well, Coley, but his revolves around Liverpool mainly. A bit like myself, he's a Liverpool fan, but no, I'll see Coley no doubt in the pub soon.
Yeah, well,
I'll throw them at him.
Yeah, keep them in your back pocket.
I will do. Yeah, I will do.
Tony mentioned that we ask these questions whenever we speak with someone from Liverpool, and lately we've been speaking with more people from Liverpool than a Beatles documentary. So.
Well, you will do, especially in football. It tends to be there's a lot of scousers playing up and down the country, at all levels, and I think it's the love for the game why there's so many playing, and I think as well in this time why you see so many cats flying over fences, because there's fellas everywhere in Liverpool getting that fed up with no football that the cats are taking the brunt of it. So when you see them flying over the fence in the back garden of a night, there's a fella frustrated with nothing on the telly to watch. So.
It's strange, because when you mentioned that, it seems to be one hotbed in the whole England for football, where you get not only passionate fans, but players, managers. And I mean, if it wasn't for Liverpool, Accrington Stanley probably would not be on the map today because of the connection with John Coleman and the people he brings in. Yeah,
when I signed there, I played against Accrington when they'd won the Conference North, and they came into the conference, and it was the year we won the conference when I was at Chester, and I knew a lot of the lads because probably I'd say 75% of the side were from Liverpool, and like you say, there is players who've had unbelievable careers from Liverpool, and there's lads who have had careers in lower leagues and non-league and stuff, and it's very, very close. There's not too many footballers come from the city that you don't know as a footballer or as a football person, and I think that makes it special. But Aki did have and do get a lot of players from the area, and I think it's safe to say it stood John and Jimmy and certainly the club very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you just look up and down the roster, we joke around that John and Jimmy wait outside the Everton Academy to see who got released without a contract.
Yeah, they do.
At one point, Paul, we had so many Liverpool players on in a row, we had to get Joe Maguire from Manchester to break up the string.
Break up the accents as well. Albert. Give someone else a chance to hear a different accent and to be able to understand the different accents as well. Will help as well with us Scousers. Certainly some of us.
Now, before we jump back into football, did you want to do the fun questions, Tony? I think that would be a good time, and then we can kind of get back into the football after.
Okay, go ahead. You got the sound effects ready, Phil? Okay, this is what we call our rapid fire section, Paul, and it's just the fun questions for just, the no wrong or right answer, so we'll get right at it. Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
Mushy or garden peas?
Garden peas.
Red or brown sauce on your bacon butty?
Brown.
And this is from Mark Hughes for more of the senior players. Red or white wine?
Oh, white at a push. It's not my typical wine. I'll be honest.
Right. And if you have a full English, would it be with or without black pudding?
Without.
If you were watching a soap opera, Coronation Street or EastEnders?
Oh God. I'd have to say Coronation Street. I can't stand them.
I don't blame you. When Tony said that he was going to ask about kinds of soaps, I said Irish Spring. I didn't know they were TV shows. Oh God, yeah. I have to suffer them like most fellas with my missus, but I try and walk out.
Well, so this is a secret to when we were at a resort one time celebrating an anniversary, and the guy asked me what was the success to being married so long, because we're getting on to close to 45 years. And he said, what was your success? And I said to the guy, separate televisions.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%. I'll go with that.
The next one is, would you prefer bitter or a lager?
Lager.
Okay. And would you watch Sunderland Till You Die, yes or no?
I haven't watched it yet. No, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. And if you were to, at this time of being inside more, if you were to binge watch a program on Netflix, what would you recommend?
I'm not a big telly buff, me. I watch sports. That's it.
That's what I kept saying.
If I was going to binge watch, I think I'd say Sopranos.
Can't go wrong with the Sopranos.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. All right, that's a good one. You would binge watch all the games from last season, right?
Yeah, I could sit and watch football games all the time. Any repeats, whatever, from years ago. I actually watched the Liverpool versus Notts Forest from some time ago. Alan Hansen, John Barnes, Aldridge, Beardsley, where Liverpool beat Forest 5-0. I watched that a couple of days back, and what a game that was! What a performance by Liverpool. So as long as I know it's going to be entertaining, we were watching Liverpool in the 80s and 90s. You knew it was definitely going to be that, the early 90s.
If you had a favorite classic game that we could tell our listeners to go find on YouTube, what's your favorite classic game of all time?
There's been a few, but
give us three then.
I'd have to say that the first one that stands out to me was Liverpool beating Everton in the 86 FA Cup final, 3-1, when Ian Rush broke the camera with the third goal. The other one would be the Champions League final against AC Milan.
Yeah.
And obviously the Champions League game against Barcelona as well. That was last season.
There was one in there. There's one in there that probably would be in your top 10 that I was just thinking about was the Newcastle Liverpool match. That got to be a what was a, I think it was. Yeah, that was a heck of a match too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was something else, that game. It was like basketball. It was just end to end, and it could have actually been about 8-8 if you watch the game back.
Yeah,
it could have, but two unbelievably good attacking sides, and really poor defensive sides. But what a game of football it made. That was a time when the football was really coming into its own on evening football, and I remember it really, really clearly being at home watching it with my dad, and it was an unbelievable game, and it was for the league game to be talked about for as long as it was. You knew it was something special. I think it got game of the decade, and I think I read Stan Collimore's book, and he said it was the proudest moment of his career.
Wow!
Obviously scoring in the game, and it was just sorry, what am I on about? 4-3. But he said it's the biggest achievement he's ever had in his career, which takes some doing. The proudest moment is a game, and just a league game. I think it was because of the coverage that the game received.
Well, I think it did make the top 10 Premier League matches of all time. I believe it made up in that range because it was such a classic match. And no, I'd watch that one again. I think it's just, and the score, but you'd still watch it again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what year was that? That was mid-90s, 96, I think it was. And,
it was around the time that Blackburn won the Premier League, wasn't it? It was in and around that time, I think. Yeah,
it was. I think it was 96, and I remember Liverpool's side. That was the McManaman, Fowler, that side, and that was a great Liverpool side really to watch. One of the sides that was always an early side, probably because they could concede 3 and needed to score 4 to win games. But what a game that was. The image that stands out is Keegan slumped over the board when Colin scores. I've been there myself, not in such dramatic fashion, in such a big game, but when you concede late on, it's gut wrenching. But when you score, it's unbelievable. And as a manager, and you're putting your faith and your trust in players to deliver, and it happens. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. But at the same time, if it doesn't happen for you and it goes the other way, it's stomach churning because there's nothing you can do about it, unfortunately. but what a game that was.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, in this sport, I don't think there's a higher high or a lower low than scoring or conceding at the end. Like you said, it's either the best thing or the worst thing in the game. And